Welcome to the NoDQ Roundtable. In this series, members of the NoDQ panel will give their answers to a wrestling question submitted by one of their colleagues. Let us now take a look at what today's question is.
Yo, it's your boy the Cleaver. I got a question for you, Rift. Who would you have replaced Triple H with in DX? Triple H is no longer a member of DX. Never has been. Who would have been his spot?
If Triple H was never involved in DX, if he wasn't in WWE, I look at the other members of DX. Sean Waltman / X-Pac was still in WCW. I think it probably would have been the Road Dogg and maybe Billy Gunn as well. WWE was looking for something for those guys to do, and they started becoming rebels. They fit in with what Shawn Michaels was doing at the time. If there was no Triple H, I think it would have been a three-man group. Triple H would have been out. You would have had Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg Jesse James, and the badass Billy Gunn.
Without Triple H there, I don't know who makes it work, because China was kind of like a package deal for Triple H with the chemistry and how that all worked. You take him out of the group, I don't know, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, they weren't there quite yet until after Shawn. I mean, surely they did the No Way Out, a 1998 In Your House match before WrestleMania 14, but they didn't really become full-fledged members until after Shawn left. X-Pac, he came in a few months later, but for that initial 1997, early 98 period, I don't know if Shawn would have had the chemistry with anyone. You know, a lot of that was just how him and Triple H goofed around backstage, and they were bringing it up a notch, you know, up to like tenfold on the television. So I just don't think anyone else could have made that work. DX probably, I mean, I guess you had Rick Rude, but Rick Rude didn't do much of anything of just stand there, right? And then eventually he left. So
I'm going to go with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I feel like even though we know Stone Cold more so as a lone wolf, a solo mercenary, you know, who fights on his own, I think you go back and you look at the Austin McMahon stuff, and I think Stone Cold, the beer drinking, the attitude, was very much a degenerate and could have been a solid member under Shawn Michaels for that little bit of the run in late 97 into early 98 when Shawn got injured. And he would have been a solid leader of DX once Shawn had to remove himself. And then the WrestleMania 14 match becomes Austin versus Michaels, but it's built off of the fact that Austin wants to lead DX into his own era, his own way, and Shawn Michaels, having been injured, is just kind of giving up on things.
I'm actually going to go with The Rock. I think that it would be Shawn Michaels and The Rock running DX. Maybe they would have done an angle where the Nation of Domination boots The Rock out instead of Farouk, you know, when Rock actually did that, and instead we would have had The Rock and Shawn Michaels just be controversial figures. The Rock would have been someone who, you know, really could have, get those raunchy jokes out there. I mean, it'd be a little weird for him to, you know, ask women to flash their boobs and things like that, but I think they would have made it work, and I think that we would have probably seen an inevitable Rock versus Shawn Michaels match, you know, for control of DX and things like that, or maybe DX would have booted The Rock and The Rock would have just overcome and, you know, overthrow D-Generation X. I think that's what we would have seen with that. So, again, hard to say, but that's the answer I'm going with on that one.
Now, for me, I'm thinking about at that time when he was joining DX, he was coming off the Hunter Hearst Helmsley Regal type of gimmick, and that makes me think of William Regal. Maybe he could have had a good time doing that type of stuff, or like a serious guy like a Ken Shamrock or Steve Blackman, somebody who uses their pedigree to then be able to show that they can transition to something humorous and a thorn in the side of Vince McMahon, as DX ended up being.
I don't know if I could find a better name that fit that mold. There really wasn't nobody else. Maybe Ken Shamrock based on his unhinged nature, because DX were degenerates that didn't give a crap about anything, but still, that's a very hard reality for me to visualize, to say the least.
That concludes this edition of the NoDQ Roundtable. What were your thoughts on the question? Leave a comment and subscribe to the NoDQ YouTube channel for the latest wrestling news and discussion.